Types of phishing attacks. Describe the different phishing attacks, including email phishing, spear phishing, and whaling. Email phishing. Email phishing is a cyber attack that uses email messages to trick individuals into providing sensitive information or access to systems. The attackers often use social engineering tactics, such as posing as a legitimate source or creating a sense of urgency, to convince the target to act. Email phishing aims to steal personal information, login credentials, or money from the victim. An example of a phishing email could seem to come from a bank or financial institution and informs the recipient that their account has been compromised and that they need to click on a link to reset their password. The email may use language such as, "To protect your account, please reset your password immediately," to create a sense of urgency. The link in the email, however, directs the recipient to a fake website that looks identical to the bank's website. Once the user enters their personal information, such as login credentials, credit card numbers, and social security numbers, the attacker uses it to gain access to sensitive information. In this case, the attacker uses the trust of the recipient in their bank and the sense of urgency to convince them to follow the email's instructions and click on the link provided. By providing the information requested, the victim is giving away their personal and sensitive information to the attacker. Spear phishing. Spear phishing is a targeted form in which an attacker specifically targets an individual or organization with a seemingly legitimate email or message. The attacker usually uses personal information obtained through research or social engineering to make the message appear more credible. The goal of spear phishing is to steal sensitive information, login credentials, or money from the victim. An example of spear phishing could be an email that appears to come from a known colleague, friend, or business partner and requests the recipient to review an important document. The email may contain a subject line such as "Urgent, review attached document," and the sender's name and email address may appear legitimate, as the attacker may have used personal information obtained through research or social engineering. The document attached to the email contains a link that, when clicked, directs the user to a fake website that looks identical to a legitimate one, such as a cloud storage platform or a social media website. Once the user enters their personal information, such as login credentials, the attacker uses it to access sensitive information. In this case, the attacker uses the recipient's trust in their colleague or business partner and the sense of urgency to convince them to follow the email's instructions and click on the link provided. By providing the information requested, the victim is giving away their personal and sensitive information to the attacker. Additionally, the attacker may use the information for further spear phishing attacks or gain access to other systems and data. Whaling. Whaling is a spear phishing attack targeting explicitly high-level executives or important figures within an organization. The attacker uses social engineering tactics and personal information to create a seemingly legitimate message that appears to come from a trustworthy source. The goal is to trick the target into providing sensitive information, login credentials, or money. An example of whaling could be an email that appears to come from a high-level executive of the company, such as the CEO or CFO, and requests the recipient to transfer money to a specific bank account for an urgent and confidential project. The email may contain a subject line such as, "Urgent, confidential financial request," and the sender's name and email address may appear legitimate, as the attacker may have used personal information obtained through research or social engineering. The email may also contain a sense of urgency and confidentiality, using phrases like "time-sensitive" and "confidential" to convince the recipient to act quickly. Once the recipient transfers the money, it's too late to realize it is a scam, and the attacker uses the transferred money for personal gain. In this case, the attacker uses the recipient's trust in their executive and the sense of urgency and confidentiality to convince them to follow the email's instructions and transfer the money. Additionally, the attacker may use the information obtained from the email and the company's structure to launch further whaling attacks or to gain access to other sensitive information. Identifying phishing attacks. One of the common tactics used by attackers in phishing attacks is the use of urgent or threatening language in the message or email. This creates a sense of urgency in the recipient's mind and convinces them to take immediate action. For example, attackers may use phrases such as, "Your account will be suspended," or, "Your personal information is at risk," to create a sense of panic and urgency. They use this urgency to convince the recipient to click on a link or provide information without thinking about the consequences. Another common tactic attackers use in phishing attacks is spoofing legitimate sources. This is done by making the email or message appear to come from a legitimate organization or individual that the recipient trusts. This can be done by mimicking the branding, logos, and even the email address of the legitimate source. Attackers may also use personal information obtained through research or social engineering to make the message appear more credible. This tactic is often used in spear phishing attacks, where the attacker explicitly targets an individual or organization with a seemingly legitimate email or message. Here are some tips on how to identify the signs of a phishing attack and what to do if you suspect that you have received a phishing email or message. 1. Look for suspicious or unexpected emails or messages. Be wary of emails or messages that come from unfamiliar senders, contain urgent or threatening language, or ask for personal information. 2. Check the sender's email address. Be cautious of emails that appear to come from a legitimate source, but have slight variations in the email address. 2. For example, support@amazon.com could be spoofed as support@amazon.com. 3. Verify links before clicking. Be careful of clicking on links or downloading attachments in emails or messages, even if they appear to be from a legitimate source. 3. For example, hang over the link to see the actual destination before clicking on it. 4. Be wary of unsolicited requests. Be suspicious of unsolicited requests for personal information, login credentials, or money. 4. Legitimate organizations will never ask for sensitive information via email or message. 5. Report suspicious emails or messages. If you suspect you have received a phishing email or letter, do not respond or provide any personal information. 5. Report it to your IT department or the relevant authorities. 6. Keep your software and security tools updated. Use anti-phishing software and email filtering to help detect and block phishing attempts. 7. Educate and train your employees. Regularly educate and train employees on how to identify and avoid phishing attacks. This can help. 3. Consequences of a successful phishing attack. A successful phishing attack can have severe consequences for both individuals and organizations. Here are some of the potential effects of a successful phishing attack. 1. Financial loss. Phishing attacks often involve stealing personal and financial information, such as credit card numbers, login credentials, and banking information. Once an attacker has this information, they can use it to make unauthorized transactions, steal money, and commit fraud. In addition, companies may lose money by having to pay for data recovery, investigation, and legal fees. 2. Damage to reputation. A successful phishing attack can damage an organization's reputation and lead to a loss of customer trust. Suppose customers find out that their personal information has been compromised. In that case, they may lose confidence in the organization's ability to protect their data and may choose to take their business elsewhere. 3. Legal penalties. Organizations may face legal penalties if they fail to protect customer data, as many countries have strict data protection laws. 3. Organizations may be fined or face legal action if they fail to comply with these laws, which can lead to significant financial losses. 4. System compromise. A successful phishing attack may compromise a system or network, giving the attacker access to sensitive information and the ability to steal or alter data or disrupt operations. 5. Loss of productivity. A phishing attack can lead to a loss of productivity as employees may be unable to access their systems or data, and IT staff may need to deal with the attack. 6. Loss of sensitive information. A phishing attack may lead to the loss of sensitive information such as confidential business information, personal information, trade secrets, and intellectual property. A successful phishing attack can have significant financial, reputational, and legal consequences. Therefore, organizations must protect against phishing attacks by using security technologies and policies, such as user education and training. Defending against phishing attacks is crucial to minimize the risk of a successful attack. Here are a few reasons why. 1. Phishing attacks are familiar. They are one of the most common types of cyber attacks and are becoming increasingly sophisticated. 2. Without proper defenses in place, it is easy for individuals and organizations to fall victim to these attacks. 3. Phishing attacks can have severe consequences. A successful phishing attack can result in financial loss, damage to reputation, legal penalties, system compromise, loss of productivity, and loss of sensitive information. 4. Defending against phishing attacks can help to mitigate these consequences. 5. Phishing attacks are evolving. Attacks are constantly changing, and attackers are always finding new ways to trick individuals and organizations. 6. Keeping up with the latest tactics and techniques attackers use is crucial to defend against phishing attacks effectively. 4. Employee education and training. Employee education and training are crucial in helping to protect against phishing attacks. Organizations can reduce the risk of a successful attack by educating employees on identifying and avoiding phishing attempts. 5. Multi-layered approach. A multi-layered approach is essential for defending against phishing attacks. 5. It's about using security technologies and implementing security policies, conducting regular security assessments, and training users to recognize and report suspicious activity. In conclusion, defending against phishing attacks is crucial to minimize the risk of a successful attack and protect against the severe consequences of a successful phishing attack. Organizations should take steps to protect against phishing attacks, such as user education and training, and using security technologies and policies as part of a multi-layered approach. Defending against phishing attacks. User education and training are the most effective ways to defend against phishing attacks. Regularly educating and training employees on how to identify and avoid phishing attempts can help to reduce the risk of a successful attack. Employees should be prepared to recognize the signs of a phishing attempt, such as unexpected emails or messages, suspicious links or attachments, and unsolicited requests for personal information. Additionally, employees should be aware of the potential consequences of a successful phishing attack and the importance of reporting suspicious activity. Security technologies and policies are other crucial aspects of defending against phishing attacks. Organizations can use anti-phishing software and email filtering to help detect and block phishing attempts. Additionally, security policies can be implemented to help protect against phishing attacks, such as requiring employees to use strong and unique passwords and regularly updating them. Organizations should also implement two-factor authentication for sensitive accounts and network segmentation to limit the impact of a successful phishing attack. A multi-layered security approach is essential for defending against phishing attacks. This approach involves using multiple security measures to protect against attacks, such as user education and training, security technologies and policies, and regular security assessments. This approach provides multiple layers of protection, which helps to reduce the risk of a successful attack and mitigate the consequences if an attack is successful. Additionally, it's vital to have an incident response plan in place to be able to quickly and efficiently respond to a suspected phishing attack and minimize the damage. 1. Anti-phishing software. Anti-phishing software is a technology that can detect and block phishing attempts. It works by analyzing emails and messages for suspicious content, such as links or attachments, and blocking them if they are malicious. Some anti-phishing software also includes features such as link validation and URL reputation checking, which can help to further protect against phishing attacks. 2. Email filtering. Email filtering is a technology that can detect and block phishing emails. It works by analyzing incoming emails for suspicious content, such as links or attachments, and blocking them if they are malicious. Email filtering can also be used to block emails from known or suspected phishers and detect emails that contain specific keywords, phrases, or patterns commonly used in phishing emails. 3. Multi-factor, MFA, authentication. Multi-factor authentication is a security policy that can be used to protect against phishing attacks. It works by requiring users to provide two forms of identification, such as a password and a fingerprint or a password and a one-time code sent to a mobile device, before they can access sensitive information. This helps to prevent attackers from gaining access to sensitive information, even if they have obtained login credentials through a phishing attack. These are some examples of security technologies and policies that can be used to protect against phishing attacks. It's important to note that no single technology or policy can defend against phishing attacks. Therefore, organizations should implement a multi-layered security approach that includes a combination of technologies, policies, and user education. Conclusion. In this lecture, we discussed the topic of phishing attacks and their potential consequences. We explained that phishing attacks are common and evolving and have severe effects such as financial loss, damage to reputation, and legal penalties. In addition, we highlighted the importance of user education and training, the use of security technologies and policies, and the implementation of a multi-layered security approach as the best practices for defending against phishing attacks. We also provided examples of security technologies and policies, such as anti-phishing software, email filtering, and multi-factor authentication, that can be used to protect against phishing attacks. It's important to remember that phishing attacks constantly evolve, and attackers are always finding new ways to trick individuals and organizations. To minimize the risk of a successful attack, it's crucial to keep up with the latest tactics and techniques used by attackers and to implement a multi-layered security approach to protect against phishing attacks. Regularly educating and training employees on how to identify and avoid phishing attempts can also help to reduce the risk of a successful attack.